So, how's life? So we were
Spicy.
So did you come up with anything? I'll start internally before, since you and I just talked a little bit.
Okay.
What's going on in your world?
None.
Any idea topic-wise that stands out to you? Good guess from recent.
Consistency and recovery.
Consistency and recovery. Say more.
Well, like you and I talked about, like doing the same thing over and over and over becomes redundant, and like if you don't feel like you're getting the results you should get, how do you deal with that? Like it's becoming like just monotonous, and yeah, it becomes the same thing, Groundhog's Day every day, doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over again, and not getting the results that you think you should get, or things aren't happening as fast, or as, the way you think they should, or I think they should. Sorry.
Let you finish.
Go ahead.
It's funny how much this thing picks up. Yeah, so, all right, this is a super recurring theme with a lot of people. Like, fuck, that shit isn't happening quick. I want it right now. I want everything to be better. I've been putting in the work for a couple months, and now it seems redundant. So, and then I asked you, I was like, how many times have we sat and got together and had the same conversation over lunch about recovery? A bazillion times.
Oh yeah, lots of time.
How many times have we met at the same place that we get to and talked about the same things,
Yep.
and go to the same meeting and do the same things, and
Right, it becomes redundant.
yeah, it's redundant, but there's also a part of it that I think breeds consistency and separates us from drama and chaos, and starts to build a platform of actual stability that you can build a foundation of a life on, but it doesn't happen right away, and I'm not to make this a spiritual conversation, but we all come in and we ask for exactly what we want. I want things to be better, and I want to start hurting people, and I want a better relationship, and I want some stability, and I want some foundation, and I want, and then when it shows up, oh wait, this is boring.
Right.
I don't like this now.
Yeah.
But that's actually the foundation of what things are built from.
Right. Well, we're addicted to chaos more than at least
Mm-hmm.
I am, probably more than anything else. So when things are going like, and then there's perception, and then there's reality. Like thinking like, my life sucks, or this, I'm bored, or I'm not getting what I want, and when that's all perception. In reality, life's pretty good. I get to wake up every morning instead of coming to every morning. I like build relationships. People start to trust me better. Things are actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, you can show up for your family. You can do, you can get to a place where you can have some, stability in your relationships and finance and house and a lot of things that are going that way.
I think it's like I do this whole kind of like grass is greener on the other side thing too. And I think like the up and down of addiction was like kind of like I can be like, oh, I want that peace of mind. I want that stability. I want things to calm down. And then once I get that, I'm like, oh, I want the excitement. I want the blah, blah, blah. And then once I get that, I'm like, oh, I miss the calm. I miss the peace of mind, right? And it's like this up and down that addiction gave me that I got used to. And then I expect that in everyday life. And like to me, addiction is just like, it's the disease of more, right? Like of never being satisfied of where I am in the present moment. Like it's always gotta be, I'm always wanting for something instead of like being okay with where I am, and I can do that without a substance.
Yeah, and what I have, and we were talking about that yesterday. It's
That's
like,
a shitty place to be.
Oh, right here and right now?
No, always wanting more.
Well, yeah.
It's a shitty place to be. And I get it. I totally relate with that. Like I want something different all the time. No matter where I'm at, I want something different.
Well, yeah, we were talking to you. I mean, you're like, someday I'm going to have this thing. And, well, back then I used to have that thing.
Right.
You know, and that's great. You know why? Because it absolves me of any responsibility for here and now and today.
Right.
You know, if I actually live in the present, then I have to take a focused look at what I'm doing in the present. And if it's not good, then I got to work something out and do something different. Now that involves work. Mm-hmm. But if I spend time in tomorrow and yesterday, that's great because it frees me up from any responsibility from putting in actual work in forward motion.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Dreams and ideas are like so much more fun than the work that it takes to make them happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were talking about, I can't remember who I heard saying this, but it's like, you know, everybody sees the peak of the mountain, the pinnacle that they're trying to get to. And they see where they're at. But what gets lost in between is the trail and the effort. You know, getting up the actual mountain, putting in the hard, consistent, stable work that it takes to do that. And then forgetting that, you know, the process of actually transferring up the mountain is where strength is built, and where consistency comes from, and where, you know, the effort, and I'm not saying it has to be arduous, but there's something. I mean, it does take effort. You know, it takes a piece of consistency towards that.
And like the perception, like Nick was saying too, right? Like I'm always gonna have to wash the fucking dishes, and I'm always gonna be like, fuck, I have to wash the fucking dishes, right? But like, if I'm washing the dishes and I'm like, oh, that bubble is kind of pretty. You know, like, it's all about my perception. Oh, that soap bubble, oh, it just flew in the light and it looks kind of cool. Like, I can do that, or I can be like, hurry up, get it done, get it out of the way, hate my life.
Yeah, well, it seems like most addicts sit there and they're like, boy, those dishes are going to look so good when they're done. You know, boy, I remember when the dishes were done. It was great when those were done. You know, instead of just like, wow, this sucks. I got to stand my happy ass up on the couch and go over and wash those fucking dishes. You know?
And that it doesn't have to be a terrible thing to wash the dishes if we choose to see it that way.
Yeah, there's the idea of making like, I've spent a lot of time in my own recovery trying to figure out how to make the journey the reward, as opposed to a destination being the reward. When I get to the thing, you know, because recovery is not like, oh, I'm in recovery now, check, I've accomplished this, on to the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
The process is how do you make the process the reward?
Yeah.
You know, how do you make the effort the benefit? How do you make, you know, the consistency, you know, the trophy of what you're trying to achieve? You know, so Elise, what were you, I mean, we talked slightly before this, but you were talking about something that was maybe a little different version of this, but similar. You want to catch everybody up on what that was, of your idea for the day?
I think partly mine is like dependability and balance, and that has a lot to do with consistency too. Like for me, it's trying to make sure I balance like my relationships with, you know, making enough money, with hobbies, with doing the fucking dishes, right? Like balancing everything, and not just like I'm an addict, so I still think self-centered, right? Like if I have some open time in my schedule, I'm like, oh, let's hang out, and then people have their own schedule and their own lives, and they're like, well, I can't now, and I'm like, well, fuck, what am I gonna do now? Now this, you know, now I'm wasting time, right? Because I didn't plan ahead better. I didn't say, I should do this thing then. And it kind of goes hand in hand with like what Nick was saying, or what we were saying about like consistency with hard work. Like I will have a blank spot in time where I could practice my hobby, but then I end up taking a nap instead. And then I'm like, and then I'm like mad at the world that I'm not better at my hobby than I should be, or that people aren't giving me as many props because I'm not as skilled as I wanted to be because I didn't want to take the time to practice.
And put in the work and show up to dance. You know, I think there's a big piece to recovery at any stage where routine and schedule matters a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because if you think about, like in the book, we've got a tool called Clearing Room to Grow. You know, and it's where we talk about taking, you know, when you eliminate using out of your life, and you think about all the time you've spent using, you know, the pre-time, you know, the hustling and the getting and the doing and all of that stuff, and the little bit of time that you actually use, and then all of the ramifications of things that come after that. You know, the dope sick and the hungover and the brain, you know, making up for the fight that you caused so you could go use, and all the other shit that you did, and the sorries and the apologies and the work and the, oh, I didn't mean to show up, and the lying and the bullshit. And you eliminate all of that. That's where boredom lives for most people, because they're like, oh, but I'm bored. My life's full of nothing. I don't have anything to do because I'm not involved in all of that fucking mess that using brings in my life. So what are you going to do with that? So, you know, having a schedule and a routine that you want to stick to. Having things that you want to do, like Sunday. You know, my old routine, I noticeably remember waking up when I don't know, I was at maybe 90 days, somewhere in that area. And I remember waking up and I was so conditioned to that, you know, when you wake up, and that's what you just talked about, that coming to as opposed to waking up. Mm-hmm. Coming to, and just that feeling like you're waiting to feel like shit, mm-hmm. physically or mentally or spiritually or any other version of that. And it didn't come. And I was like, this kind of feels good. You know, matter of fact, I kind of like this. Right. You know, because I had zero desire to stop using. But when that started to happen and I started to see some benefits to this, and I started to look at my life like, what is happening? You know, and to me, my days in the beginning were like I played this recovery softball team and did, I volunteered for Special Olympics on Sundays, and then Monday was, I went to this other recovery group. Tuesdays I went to my home group. Wednesdays I met with my sponsor. Thursdays I chaired a meeting somewhere. Fridays I helped, this men's program had a basketball program, you know, so they had something better to do on Friday nights than, you know, want to go to the bar or go get high, and helped that. And so it was every week the same: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, rinse, repeat, start over and do it again. And it created this rhythm in my life that I just knew what I was doing almost every day. Mm-hmm. And was there a little bit of boredom to it? Yeah. But there's also a lot of consistency to that. So take that and combine that with meeting a new group of people and involving myself in thinking differently and working on the core issues of why I was using underneath that. And then starting to engage in some sort of like learning. Like I spent a lot, like I was pedaling around Albuquerque, and I would always listen to podcasts or TED Talks or whatever. And it took my mind in a whole different direction where I wasn't hyper-focused on using all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, I was learning, and I was interested in things. You know, and it had helped so much to have that routine and schedule going through. And was it the same? Yeah, it was. There were times that it was kind of monotonous. But honestly, I think addicts are great at routine. You know, you had one in your old life. You know, wake up, feel like shit, rip somebody off, go to your Connect, and do it all over again.
No, I mean, I think structure is definitely good. You know, it's just like, I guess it's what you said, like enjoying the process instead of the destination. And that's something that's difficult for me right now. Like, I don't know
why. What's difficult about it?
Okay, difficult, maybe not the right word. It's monotonous.
Okay.
For me.
What do you miss? If it's monotonous, it seems you're seeking something different. What's the different?
I don't know that I'm seeking, and that it's just different. It's not what I like, you know. Well, one, I'm not working, so I'm used to spending 14, 15 hours on a movie set every day, I'm not, so that, which is chaos in itself. So I'm not doing. So then take the drug use out, and then so the weekends are gone, because that's what I used to do, right? So all that shit. So now I, fucking hang out with your ass all the time.
So you have different layers. So you got, I know, probably is boring. No wonder you want to do something different. So would I.
Let's get this podcast. Let's call an hour before we start. Let's get it on the podcast.
Okay, hurry up.
Let's not plan this thing out.
I can insert
Let's
some
not
chaos
plan
in your
this
life
thing
for
out.
you.
Yeah.
So, but think about it. It's different layers of chaos that you were, all of us. Like we all had different
I get
layers
it.
of
It's
chaos.
just it's different. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but enjoying the process when you're looking at a result. Like you're taking all these tools that you're learning and you're not putting them into good use. Like you're like, well, fuck, get up, read your literature, meditate, pray, gym, meeting, podcast, another meeting, eat, go to bed,
Yeah.
repeat.
Again.
So it's just like every day it's the same.
Okay, so let me ask you something. In that case, so you're doing the same thing every day. You get up, you exercise, you meditate, you're spiritual, all the things you just said.
Every day.
So you've been doing that consistently for
4 months.
120 days. It's a long time. So in that time, let me look. I've known you for north of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
So prior to that, when you would go down business as usual, I'd get clean for a while, then I'd get uncomfortable with the process. I'd go back to doing things 15 to 18 hours a day, in, as you're just defined, a chaos-ridden environment. I mean, I can imagine. I've never been on a movie set, but I can imagine it's constant frenetic energy of people doing things all the time. And then on the weekends, you have a new version of that where you're out off to the races, dealing with whatever you do in the streets. It's just layers of chaos to chaos to chaos. So for 5 years, I watched you come in, go out, come in, go out, come in, go out, come in, go out. Consistent as can be. A lot of consistency in that process. Now you're here, by your definition, Groundhog's Day, where you're doing the same things over again. But we've talked a lot, and you said, there's no benefit. Or there's maybe not no, there's no benefit, but the reward doesn't seem as tangible. Right. But I want to look at this. When I ask you simply, how do you feel about your health? Like, how are you doing health-wise?
Great. I just went to the doctor this morning. So from 3 months ago, like my blood work is complete 180. Like he said, actually said it's incredible how much you've done in 3 months where you're at. Because I was fucked up before.
Okay, so your health has gotten better. How about your mental state of mind?
It's good.
How do you deal with struggles and transition and strife in your life now?
Better.
Okay. What is your home life like?
Really good.
How about your relationship?
Good.
How about your financial stability?
So. Because I'm not working.
Yeah,
but it's good. No, I'm fine. I don't have to work right now. So
you're fine. You're surviving. Yeah. What about the people outside of your life that you have that are consistent? Like the people when I say outside of your immediate relationship.
What about them?
Do you have some? Do you have a healthier version of that?
Yes.
Okay, so you have healthier people in your life. You have consistency in your recovery. What about your spiritual health?
It's good.
Okay. So it seems like you got 8 or 10 things that are dramatically better, but they get discounted all the time as unimportant. And I'm not saying you, but with everybody.
No, you're right.
It gets seemed like, I'm doing all this work and I'm not getting any.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's reality and there's perception, and my perception when I go off on these tangents and and I call you or I lash out, I'm like, fuck this and all that and da 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 and whatever, and then you're really good at bringing it back to reality. Like, this is what's really going on, and you're right. And you write it out, whatever we do, and it's I'm always thinking about how things should be in my view. Where in reality things maybe are that way, just not in the way that I think they should be. Like you said you wanted a stable life. You said you wanted to stop using. You said you wanted to get healthy. You said you wanted a better relationship. You said, and you got all of it. Like,
yeah, you got literally everything you've asked for.
I got everything I've asked for.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
By putting in this work.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't come with a monetary paycheck,
Right.
but I guarantee you it's payment in full.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's funny, like I was at a meeting that I go to the other day, and Elise and I that's where we met, was at this home group. And I pulled out this old calendar trying to get a piece of paper that we could rip up. And when I looked on it, February 18th was circled as Elise's 1 year clean. And you have how long clean now?
I'll have 6 years on Saturday.
6 years on Saturday. That's badass.
That's badass.
Now, if you were to describe to me Elise at
Should I
that,
knew you in the beginning?
yeah, describe to me yourself at that on that day. So if you were to go back 5 years, when you were 1 year clean, who were you?
I remember the day that I got my year, and I remember crying, but like crying, like tears of joy.
How come?
Like it was just so. It was maybe the first time that I felt like I had arrived. Like I know we never like really arrive in recovery, right? Like we don't graduate or anything, but it's the first time that I kind of felt like I had gotten to this place where like I had joy and I had peace and I felt accomplished and I felt supported and I felt like I was going somewhere and I had purpose, and it was just overwhelming in a good way.
Mm-hmm. All right, describe your first day in recovery. Who were you then?
I had tried to get clean, and so my first day, this time around was I had used the day before and then drank, it would be the 17th, it would be like, yeah, the day before. I drank early that morning to get rid of the feelings of the high, and then I sat in my bed shitting bricks because I hadn't shoplifted enough to be able to flush enough to be able to go to my PO and take a piss test. And all the while like trying to pretend like I'm fine to my mom where I'm living. And so I remember just like shitting bricks, sitting in bed with my computer, and I was like, I'm going to email my PO and tell her that I relapsed. Because like this is so stressful. And I was told by my drug court that honesty was rewarded, and I was like, that's great and I hope that's true, but like I think this is the only way to go, right? Because if I'm gonna get caught anyways, so I might as well be upfront about it, and hopefully that saves my ass in some way.
Okay. So full of legal charges, running and hiding and dodging and avoiding shit as usual.
Yeah, on an ankle bracelet. Yeah, still shoplifting, still doing stupid shit. And yeah, so that was my first experience with like radical honesty. And I feel like that's how my recovery really started, was like, I'm going to be honest, even though like I'm scared to death, because I think it's the only way that's really going to work for me.
Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty good picture. And then in a year, complete advancement of that idea of radical honesty, that given you all the benefits to that, by the way. And so now, today, coming up on 6 years in recovery. It's a long time, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I don't ever want to sell. I mean, one day is a long time, but 6 years is part of a lifetime. Who are you today?
Well, I've gone through a lot of shit without using. So I feel like I'm a lot stronger. I have connections with people who really give a shit about me, and I know that, like, I know that I'm never alone, and that no matter what happens, like, I have a group of people who have my back, and I've moved to the place that I wanted to move since before I became addicted. Um, I'm financially independent. Um, I know how to use meditation to deal with my emotions. Um, I'm my hobby. I have gotten better, and I have become a part of community with that. Um,
You mean through dance?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I still struggle, but I know what tools to use, and I know that, like, I have faith now that, like, because I've done these things and then I get rewards, or I get to the other side and I'm still okay. Like, I know that no matter what happens, like, I'm going to be okay, and I'm not going to be alone.
Okay. You said you had tools. Give me an example. Give us some examples for people who may not know what that actually means.
So I call my sponsor, or I go to a meeting, or now I've recently made daily meditation a routine again. Um, Doing things even when I don't feel like doing them,
Like
things
what?
that are good for me.
Like what?
Like, if I know, like, I'm an addict. I want things that feel good right away, right? So, like, I want to nap, or I want to go smoke a cigarette, or I want to get likes for my video on social media or whatever, and instead of, like, running to the thing I know will make me feel good right away, I'll do the thing that I know will make me feel good more consistently and longer. Like, if I buy a pair of shoes online, I'm, like, really excited about it, and then I'm really excited when they come, and then I wear them, and then a week later I'm like, I already want to buy more shoes, right? But if I'm like, if I go to a few meetings a week, I know that I'm probably not going to be insane, and that's, like, probably the biggest reward that I can have, right? Is, like, I'm not going to lose my fucking mind. And so, do I feel like driving and sitting and listening to people share and blah blah blah? Not really. I'd rather watch TV. But when I do, I know that, like, in 2 weeks later, I'm not going to be, like, having a mental breakdown either.
Yeah. You've also, I mean, your hip hop's huge in your life. You have a practice for that. Hip hop dance got to be a great outlet for that. And you've actually, I'll give you props. You've gotten really good at that. From somebody who couldn't do that to save his life. You got your college education.
Yeah.
You've got a healthy and consistent relationship in your life. You got a lot of things that are moving that. And I think, there's a piece to this, like, I do a lot of hot yoga. And I run in the mornings. I can't, most days, I'm like, God, I want to get sit in that fucking hot room. Shit sucks. But I go. Because when I'm done, I feel way better. I can't think of a day that I actually want to put those fucking running shoes on and go out and do it. But when I get back, I'm really glad that I did. All of this shit I don't want to do in the moment.
Right.
But I got to push past it to actually get my fucking happy ass and do it. A lot of days I don't want to fucking eat a salad or whatever the hell it is that's making me feel better. I'd way rather go have a piece of pizza with gooey cheese and pepperoni and shit all over it. And then the next day I feel like ass.
Yeah.
Comparatively to, trying to do things a little more consistent and a little more healthy. So thinking the things, I mean, I always want anybody who listens to walk away from things they can actually do today. If you look at the things in your life, Nick, that have helped you get to where you are, and you had to put your finger on 3 things that were just ride or die, I can't do without, must have things, what would they be?
In recovery?
In your life right now. The things that have helped you get to the success that you've had now, that looking back, you may, maybe not have seen it at the time, but right now, 3 things that you absolutely would have to have that you can't do without that have helped you to get to where you are.
Consistency.
With?
My program.
Okay.
With recovery. Honesty.
Okay.
And my willingness, I guess.
Say more. What does that mean? Willingness to
just
what?
Like
honest about what? Willing about what?
Willing to just keep doing what I'm doing, even though I don't want to do it. Like you and I talked, like I said, like I go to the gym every day, and I like fucking hate my trainer, and he drives, but I do. Like today was leg day. I fucking hated him today, but and he's got me on this meal plan. I fucking hate the meal plan, and I hate to do it, but I'm loving the results. Like, right, so I'm doing it. So I keep doing it. But I hate it all. Like, I'm getting my ass kicked. Like, I've never gotten my ass kicked before. But I made a commitment that I want to get in the best shape of my life. And I'm doing pretty good. So, and then the willingness to do it when I don't want to do it. When I just don't want to get out of bed and go do it. That's key, is keep trudging and go and go and go, and like literally putting my head down and just doing what I need to do. Like, and that goes with everything that I'm doing. Like I wake up every day and it's nothing different. It's going to be the same fucking thing. But I trust that there's going to be a result that I'm really looking for, that I may not even know what that result is yet that I'm looking for. Because it could change, That could definitely change at a later date of what I think utopia looks like, So just doing it, and and becoming the no matter what club.
Is there any part of it that changes? Every time you talk about it, the same fucking thing every goddamn day.
So what?
And yeah,
that's what it is.
But maybe the way we talk about it matters.
Okay.
I get to do the same thing today.
This amazing thing that I do every day. Listen, I mean, but then I wouldn't be honest. So there's a piece of me. But listen, at the end of this, so that's the beginning of the day. But I can honestly say at the end of the day, when I go through my day, and I go and I lay my head down and I say, you know what, I'm glad I did everything I did today, because it kept me clean for another day, and I'm gonna lay. Nobody's looking for me at the morgue. I'm not in jail. I didn't lie or hurt anybody or rob anybody. And I'm laying next to my lady, and we're both going to go to sleep and wake up in the morning and do it all over again. And I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Are you?
I am.
Okay.
I am
Good.
okay with it. Even
and I think like I don't know. I have addictive thinking to me partially can be like black or white thinking, where I think like if I'm consistent, then everything has to be mundane, instead of I think there should be I have to find some way to make something exciting, or push the envelope a little bit, at least every month or few months or so. When I started sharing in meetings, it was kind of scary, but then I was like, whoa, that felt really good. That was kind of a rush. And then I was like, I'll share in a bigger meeting, right? And then I shared my story, and so it's I have to find things in recovery that also I did the same thing with dance. At first, walking into a dance class for the first time in recovery was just and then I left, and then I cried my way home because I wasn't good enough and blah blah blah. But then I went back again, and then as I got better, then I tried out, then I auditioned for things, and then I like I entered some battles, and then so it's like I have to push the envelope with things in order to make sure that like I can still take risks today. They just have to be like healthy.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that I didn't think I could actually do in recovery. You know, literally anything. Be creative. Put myself out there in any way. Relationships, sex, anything that I've never done clean, I had to figure out how to do in a different way. Instead of telling myself, oh, this will never work this way. I have to do it the other way. So I want to ask you the same thing I asked him. If you had to pick 3 things that were just ride or die, can't do without, must have parts of your life in your recovery, what are they? Or your life in general. It doesn't have to just be, I mean, your whole life is your recovery, so.
Communication slash like connection. I guess like I have to get I need to connect, whether that's with a silent room, a room full of people, one person, my sponsor, whatever. Like I need to instead of getting stuck in here, realize and make a way to connect with what's going on out here.
Okay. Come on,
humor?
Humor?
Yeah. Like being around people who are funny and utilizing my own sense of humor, because I feel like it's really good for getting out of just getting out of here, and like remembering like like maybe going to a meeting is boring, but then I go get like froyo with people afterwards and I laugh so hard like my abs hurt the next day. You know what I mean? And that's worth it to me. So humor, yeah, makes life worth living to me. And I think creativity, whether that's like problem solving instead of getting stuck in my problems, or whether it is in my hobby, or whether it's like, oh yeah, this thing I'm doing is getting a little boring. How can I spice it up?
What's your hobby? You talk about it a lot.
Dance.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like when I'm able to be creative, I'm not thinking about the past and I'm not thinking about the future. Like creativity gives me a way to be present right where I am in the moment.
Okay. So communication and connection.
Humor.
And
creativity.
And creativity. Okay. What would mine be? I definitely think humility is one of them. Because they not thinking that I am the all-important center of the universe that I spent most of my life acting like. Taking a more, realizing that humility doesn't mean weakness, or it's not thinking, or what's this thing? Not thinking less of myself, just thinking of myself less. I think gratitude has probably been one of the best things, because it just, trying to see the world through a lens of what I do have instead of what I don't have.
Yeah.
I used to think, I'm like, oh, I'll be grateful when I get the thing or the stuff or the place or the job or the money or the whatever. Then I'll be grateful. And if I'm grateful, then I'll be happy. But I'm coming to find probably the exact opposite of what it should be. I need to be grateful for what I have. And that changes my attitude to be happy for where I'm going and what's there. Humility, gratitude, and probably patience is probably the best thing, because I am such a fucking manipulative, and I want it now. Give me my shit now. And I used to be so proud of the fact that I could, try to manipulate the world into what the fuck I wanted it to be. And all of my superpowers that I had while on the streets. Lying and cheating, manipulating, get over on people. All that addict shit, none of which does me a goddamn thing now. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And looking through the life, like, how do I actually want to show up for the people that are with me and around and be there? Cool. Well, I appreciate everything you guys had to say today. I love these conversations. It gives me a lot to think about and things that are going away.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Being able to come through and see some things we can take away, because, I agree with what everybody
Enjoy the
says.
journey.
Yeah. Creativity is awesome. I mean, this is a new version of this. You'd ask me doing this using it. I'm like, I don't fucking way. I'm going to go talk to a bunch of people about some shit I don't understand and wing it the whole fucking time.
Right.
But that's the beauty of it, figuring it the fuck out. So, cool. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
All information and other content supplied or communicated in or through this video is for general informational purposes only and does not nor is intended to constitute legal or medical advice. Any viewer of this video should contact his or her own attorney, doctor, or other applicable advisor or practitioner to obtain legal, medical, or other applicable advice with respect to the accuracy, reliability, or potential application to such viewer of any matter discussed or portrayed in this video. Please do not act or refrain from acting in any way based on any information or content supplied or communicated in or through this video. The views expressed during this video are those of the individual presenters only and not those of Choice Recovery Path LLC or any of its customers, suppliers, or affiliates. Any liability with respect to actions taken or not taken by any viewer based on any information or content supplied or communicated in or through such video is hereby expressly disclaimed. All such information or content is expressly provided as is and free of any representation or warranty of any kind.